Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Michael Maney begins now.
Good evening everyone, and thanks for joining us. Tasmanians have celebrated Australia Day in style, flocking to community events across the state. The Apple Isle also welcoming new citizens, reflecting on what the National Day means to them.
An Australia Day tradition still going strong, more than 100 years on. The annual Henley on Mersey, the place to be in Latrobe.
I can't believe the amount of people are here. It's awesome.
It's a great way to celebrate the day.
I haven't had a beer yet, so that's for later.
Wood choppers aiming to be a cut above the rest in local competitions, as were these little guys in the fan favourite ferret race. Vintage Aussie-made cars and a variety of food and drink stalls, all setting the scene for festivities.
There's plenty of food to eat and drink, so yeah, and everyone's having a great time.
Are you guys having a fun day today?
Yes.
Tasmania's newest Australian citizens receiving a warm welcome, reflecting on where life has taken them so far and on the opportunities that lie ahead.
Yes, we are so excited today and we are really honoured to become an Australian citizens today.
For our kids, I think being Australian is going to be a really good thing in future.
Local resident Rosemary Moyer also honoured for her tireless efforts supporting grassroots sports.
You don't do it to be recognised, and you keep doing it because you love it.
It's just been a lovely day and a lovely way to reflect on what it means to be Australian and how fortunate we are to live in this country.
The Premier too taking part.
It's about celebrating our nation, all that's been achieved in the past, and indeed looking forward to our future.
Down south, the beach proving popular for Australia Day barbecues and gatherings among other hotspots.
It's a nice sunny day. I've swum out to the pontoon.
We just went up to the top of Mount Wellington. We're from Brisbane, so it's the first time we've been to Hobart.
I love it, Hobart.
While those on Bruny Island danced the day away to live music, likely keeping the party going well into the night, as Tasmanians mark the National Day their own way. Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, thousands of Tasmanians have marched through our capital, calling for the date of Australia Day to be changed. Today's proceedings in Hobart, the largest seen yet.
A movement big enough to silence the streets of Hobart.
Australia Day is not okay. We want celebrating Day.
Over 8,000 people flooding through the CBD, converging on Parliament lawns, sending a very clear message to the leaders of our country.
They talk about truth telling, they talk about closing the gap. They are on our stolen lands.
January 26 is not and will never be a day of celebration.
Stories of horror retold to a circling crowd, a harrowing reminder of the bloodshed by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people during Australia's colonisation.
20 people were shot in the back. A woman and a child were taken to Oatlands as prisoners.
A minute's silence absent from today's proceedings. Protesters instead stomping in solidarity, mourning those who've lost their lives. Crowds hearing from a handful of speakers, councillors, politicians and prominent Aboriginal leaders among them, putting their support behind a date change.
When we stand together and we work together, we can do important things locally that can lead the way nationally.
But a new survey showing more than half of Tasmanians want Australia Day to stay on January 26. A new EMRS poll indicating 56% of Tasmanians want the date to stay the same. 34% are against it and 11% remain unsure. Braddon recorded the largest number of Australia Day supporters, with 72% of those surveyed in favour. But protesters say support for their cause is stronger.
There's not one Australia Day event anywhere in Tasmania that has even half of the amount of people that turned up here today.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Local legends from the former Justice of the Federal Court to orchestra conductors have also been recognised with Australia Day honours. While much of their selfless community service may often go unseen, today we celebrate their lasting impact.
For Margaret Hoban, conductor of the Launceston Youth and Community Orchestra, being awarded an OAM came as a surprise.
Especially because it's my adoptive country. It's sort of like, well, you've been useful to us, you've done good things, and that was really heartwarming.
She says her work teaching kids for decades at her residential summer string camp has been an absolute highlight of her career. For former primary school teacher Denise Talbot, knowing she is valued by the community is a real gift, having dedicated her career to educating children across the state.
Oh, just the love you receive from these people and the acknowledgement. You don't always need, that acknowledgement as such, but just the fact that they appreciate what you do and they care.
Despite almost 3 decades of dedication to the Royal Agricultural Society of Tasmania and the Royal Hobart Show, Marianne Woodward never imagined being honoured with an OAM.
Not at all. No, it's been a labour of love. It was very exciting and a complete shock to receive such an award.
The Honourable Duncan Kerr is excited to share with his family a secret he's been holding on to for 3 weeks. The former Federal Court Justice is one of 2 Tasmanians to receive an AO in this year's Australia Day Honours.
I told them late last night and it was just a wonderful moment.
The former Attorney-General says his commitment to public service was instilled at him from a young age by his parents, celebrating inspirational contributions to our community. Stacey Eldridge, 7 Tasmania News.
With ferries expected to be packed for tomorrow's Big Bash final at Ninja Stadium, the opposition is calling for a long-term plan for the Derwent River service that ties in with events. Labor says it would ensure there are enough ferries running during major events that are on time.
We should have a comprehensive strategy and that we're willing to work with event organisers and the ferry operators as the ferry network expands.
The government says while it's not ruling out new ways of improving transport, extra ferry services have been added during big events this year.
It was our government's achievement, of which I'm very, very proud of, and we've got clear plans.
Transport Minister Abetz has also labelled Labor's proposal a copycat policy with no detail. One of Tasmania's most iconic walkways is being closed for refurbishment. Works on Cataract Gorge's suspension bridge are set to begin on Tuesday, with the span needing replacement framing, handrails and deck boards. Named the Alexandra Bridge, the span was opened to the public in 1904 and has been reconstructed twice. The repairs are expected to wrap up in May. Tasmania's own country kings have been honoured in Tamworth. The Wolf Brothers were nominated for 3 awards, taking out the Golden Guitar for Best Vocal Collaboration. Their song Beer in a Bar was recorded with New Zealand singer Kaylee Bell. The brothers were also given the job of opening act for the ceremony. Thunder captain and Aussie Test hero David Warner's right in the Hurricanes' crosshairs as Hobart hunts its first BBL title.
Obviously, the head of the snake, as they say. We'll be trying to get him early. It's no secret.
It's just going out there and playing another game of cricket. We reflect on, winning tournaments and World Cups and all that probably when you finish completely.
The Canes are in great form going into the big dance, with Mitch Owen and Tim David leading the charge in key power play and surge overs. We'll be live at Ninja Stadium tomorrow night ahead of the clash. The Jack Jumpers finals hopes are officially on the line after a devastating loss to South East Melbourne last night. Despite a strong showing in the first half, Tasmania failed to fire in the second, letting the Phoenix fly away with the win.
Injury-plagued and short-handed, it was always going to be a tough fight for the Jackies. Tasmania opening with energy, led by a Clint Steindl stunner.
Steindl, that's a premium look, and he's a premium shooter.
The valiant first-half fight had the hosts feeling the sting.
Crawford dancing and weaving and putting on a show.
Ahead by just 1 point at half-time, the Phoenix exploded out of the locker room after the break, piling on the points. Back-to-back 3-pointers from Joe Wieskamp, setting the tone for the second-half blitz.
Wieskamp unloads from a long way out.
The Phoenix turning the fourth quarter into a shooting gallery.
You saw Scott Roth have a look at his bench, and then almost have a look of resignation as if I've got no one to go with here.
South East Melbourne putting up 41 points to the Jackies 18 to finish 116-80. Jordan Crawford leading the Jackies scoring with 18 points and 5 assists. The coach left looking for the bright side.
A couple of these young kids, like Nick started, had a really good game, and the minutes that he got, so those are big positives for a few of those kids.
With 3 games to go over the final 2 rounds, the Jackies will have to dig deep to chase down the red-hot Adelaide 36ers for 6th spot on the ladder.
We'll just have to buckle down, but our margin of error is 0.
Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
And Tasmanian cycling star Georgia Baker came agonisingly close to victory in the Women's Day Classic in South Australia, losing to French Olympian Clara Caponi by half a bike length.
Good evening and happy Australia Day. Hobart recorded 19 degrees today, 24 in Launceston, Devonport 21 and 20 degrees in Burnie. The Islands, Luncheon Hill and Bushy Park all 23 today. Friendly Beaches, Grove and Strawn 21, 20 at Low Head, St Helens 19, Lyowini warm to 18 degrees today, but recorded just 0 degrees overnight. Chilly indeed. Now you can see plenty of patchy cloud about the north today, with some high cloud also about the southeast, with minimal rainfall recorded. High cloud extends to parts of the mainland, with storms lying over northern WA, the Territory and also Queensland. Tomorrow, a high pressure system lies in the Tasman Sea. A trough extends over South Australia while a cold front approaches Tasmania. North to northwesterly winds 15 to 30 knots, tending westerly in the west during the afternoon and east in the evening, with southwesterly swells at 2.5 metres. We have a strong wind warning for coastal waters between east of Flinders Island all the way around to Stanley tomorrow, to include the southwest lakes. A shower or 2 for the south tomorrow with possible thunderstorms. Let's hope that doesn't affect the play for the Hurricanes final. 32 the maximum in Hobart and Dover and 33 expected at Ooze. A windy day with showers clearing in the north, Launceston 29, 24 at Devonport and 27 the top at Scottsdale. A couple of showers in Burnie 24, windy and showery in Strawn 29 and much the same in Stanley with 25 degrees. Clearing showers in St Helens and Ross, both 29, a 50% chance of showers in Swansea with 32 degrees. Forecast now for Tuesday, showers about the west and northeast. Conditions should be mainly fine elsewhere, but westerly winds will be strong and gusty, particularly across the southern coast. Showers about the west and northeast, including the Furneaux Islands on Wednesday. Perhaps a shower or 2 for parts of the south, east and west on Thursday, but partly cloudy elsewhere. We'll take a look further north now. Possible storms across Canberra, Cairns and Darwin tomorrow. A scorcher in Melbourne, 41, but they can look forward to a late cool change. Fine in Adelaide too, with 35 degrees. It's mostly clear in Hobart right now, 16 degrees, partly cloudy in Launceston with 21, partly cloudy also in Devonport. And in tradition of Australia Day, I'm heading home now for a roast lamb with the family, Michael.
Well, that's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Good night.